Greetings and welcome to the Greatness Factor podcast, hosted by author, speaker, and property consultant Tinashe C. Mudanda. On this podcast, we'll be focusing on the ideas that can help you maximize and unlock the personal potential that is within to become the greatest version of yourself. So sit back and relax and enjoy our content as we delve into the Greatness Factor. Stay blessed.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Greatness Factor podcast. We are finally here. We've made it. We are now on video. I'm so excited, not only because this is the first groundbreaking episode where we have video, but also because this is the first interview that we also have with a renowned lawyer and restaurateur of the Kapoto Traditional Restaurant. So before we get into the interview, just a little favor. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. That will really mean a lot to me and what we are trying to do. So you do that. Don't forget to do that. Please do that. So I'll not waste much of your time. So let's get into it. Our guest today on the podcast is a Zimbabwean lawyer, a senior lecturer at the University of Zimbabwe's Faculty of Law, and senior partner at Muza in Nyapadi Legal Practitioners. As a legal practitioner, he has served as a weekly columnist for the Financial Gazette newspaper for the column Legal Matters since 2004. He was a commercial law lecturer at Pikelele Polytechnic and also lectured on clinical and practical skills training and advocacy at the University of Zimbabwe. Under the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, he has worked as a magistrate at Tregold Magistrates Court in Bulawayo. He currently is an executive director of a number of companies which include Office Essentials Private Limited, Kapoto Restaurants, and Kakorodzi Enterprises Private Limited. He is a devout Christian and is married to his beautiful wife Lillian, and they have 4 children. Today on the podcast we have none other than Mr. Vote Muza. I'm so excited to have you, sir. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Tinas.
Yes.
I feel honored to be part of this interview.
Thank you. So let's get into it. I think you have done such a successful thing as a restaurateur.
Yes.
You have managed to make the mundane extraordinary.
Yes.
Because inini ndichinzwa kuti pandakatanga kunzwa ndisanda kuziva nyaya yevalue, pandakatanga kunzwa kuti plate yesadza inoita from $20 to $25 or more, zvanga zvitongori something out of this world. Bosadza unongotora woita se wobika utodya. So you have managed to build a traditional cuisine brand.
Yeah.
Can you please narrate the journey of how you got to where you are with the Kapoto brand?
It has been a very fascinating journey, a very interesting one at every stage of the development of the brand.
Okay.
But what brought about the whole idea of establishing an African fine dining restaurant was the void that I observed in the restaurant business, where we didn't have a particularly Zimbabwean restaurant that could allow a gentleman or a gentle lady or a corporate group of persons to go and sit and eat out the African way.
Okay.
Right, most of the outlets that we had at the time then were sort of associated with too much alcohol, promiscuity, immorality, just outrageous buying, and nothing that could attract a decent foreigner or a tourist who would want to identify with genuine Zimbabwean food. So having seen that gap, I then realized that look, this was an opportunity that was begging for exploitation.
Okay.
So it started as an experiment in 2013, where we launched our first branch at Longcheng Plaza. Right. We tried to make the place have ambience, be pleasant in looking and image.
Okay.
We invested in expensive teak furniture.
Yeah.
Right. Of course, we also identified a catchy name, Kapoto.
Yeah.
I debated quite a lot with my wife before we came up with the name. So we then launched at Longchen Plaza, and believe you me, we struggled the first 6 months. After 6 months, when people then got to know our presence, and they came and tasted the food and found it so genuinely African and appetizing.
Okay.
The word just spread like wildfire.
Okay.
And in no time, the place was filling up to the brim.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, we then had to find alternative space by way of expansion. And I'll tell you, Tinash, the other reason why I felt that I could not penetrate the Western food market was that it had too much competition.
Okay.
When I was brooding about this idea, I realized that if I want to set up a restaurant, I could not go and compete with established Western restaurants. So I just then outrightly dismissed the idea of setting up a Western restaurant. And said, if I am to thrive, I need to be innovative. I need to do something that which no one has done before. To set up a clean, pleasant, smart eating African environment. And of course, that was not a mistake.
Yeah.
If I'm to look back now. Yes.
Okay. So like Panipamati, you were debating. What were the other names that were on the table for?
Of course, there was a sister of mine who was having a restaurant, which sort of was doing the African stuff.
Okay.
And I tried to invite her to give me a franchise of a name. I won't mention the name, and she refused.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the blessing in disguise.
Okay.
So we then sat down with my wife and my children, draw a long list
of names.
I think they could count up to about 5 or 6.
Okay.
Yeah. And the whole, you get interested in this, fascinated by this. The whole Kapoto idea came from my wife's cooking skills.
Okay.
That I discovered way back early in our marriage.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And I used to tell her that one day I'm going to make money through you. Because I see how you love cooking so much.
Yes.
So during her tender years, she had loved cooking for her father, and she used to relate to me the story that at whatever moment that she cooked for her father, she would thank her and say, "My tabasa my kapoto."
Okay. Kapoto.
Right? Yeah. So Kapoto was top of the list. I don't have a recollection of the other names that were listed, but I think they were equally good. Yeah. So of course we tried to capture it as Amai Kapoto, then Kapoto, and then something else. But I felt that Amai Kapoto would not appeal
to the public.
So we were then forced to just limit it to Kapoto.
Wow.
Kapoto Restaurant.
Wow. Okay, that's very interesting. I like Nyai because I see you managed to capitalize on a niche. Alright, so for someone my age who is yet to achieve some level of recognizable success, might feel that in the current economic conditions of the country, what you have done is not achievable. What advice can you give to a person my age in regards to success and challenges?
Right, I will tell you something that has missed many young people. There's this impression that has been created in young people that when things are hard in a country, particularly, for example, in Zimbabwe, the idea is to emigrate. There's nothing wrong in emigrating for young people, I'll say this quite frankly. Because emigration will give you an opportunity to experience new things and perhaps to also exploit better opportunities out there. But whenever people are creating a void in a country by emigrating, there are opportunities that remain begging for exploitation.
In the country?
In the country, yes.
Okay.
So the idea is for one to just think, lie back, relaxed, and identify those areas where you feel that you might need to take an attempt for exploitation. Look, there's agriculture, there's mining, there's food, there's IT, there's quite a whole lot of opportunities that are available and waiting for exploitation. So one does not need to feel discouraged by the talk that economic hardships are deterring us to get into what we want.
Okay.
Right? The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is in the mindset. It's in the mindset. How you mold your mindset.
Okay.
Right? So if you feed your mindset dejection and hopelessness and frustration, obviously
that's what will come out.
That's what will come out. But if you are going to say, no matter the hardships that the country are at, what is it that I can do to benefit mankind and ultimately for my own benefit? Well, I'll tell you something, Tinashe.
Yes, sir.
People have misconstrued the purpose of education.
Okay.
Allow me to say this.
Go on.
The purpose of education is not to load oneself with information and facts and data.
Yeah.
That's another angle. The true purpose of education is for one to broaden your mind so that ultimately you find solutions to mankind's problems.
Okay.
Right? That is the sole purpose of education. So it matters not that you've gone to do law at law school, but you realize later in life that, look, you can do agriculture. There are so many lawyers that I know who did law but are now into agriculture.
Wow.
How many medical doctors you know who went to do medicine at school and are now into engineering? Some have established chain stores of supermarkets, but they are medical doctors. How many you know are pharmacists but are now into mining?
Yeah.
So the idea is not to sit back and say, I can't find my job as a pharmacist, I can't find my job as an engineer. No. Find an opportunity to exploit.
Yeah, true.
Yes, and never feel discouraged to start small. Because the problem with young people is they always want to see big people and imagine the Chinimbis, the weak nails.
Yeah.
I think they can just wake up
and be like that.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It's a slow, painful process that you need to enjoy as you take each day.
Okay.
As it comes.
Oh.
Yes.
Sakama challenges, we can't avoid them. We have to face them.
They are the order of life. Challenges are the order of life. But how you realign and focus your mindset.
All right. Like not focusing on the negative, but also looking for opportunity.
Looking for the opportunity. The negative must inspire you, motivate you, push you.
To look for opportunities. I heard someone I started dancing. My Japanese, they don't have their word for misfortune.
Yes.
Is opportunity.
Yes. Because where there's misfortune, there's always a gap to find solutions.
Okay.
So the other time I said that education is there to assist you to find solutions to life's problems. So where you find a problem, there's a solution.
Yeah.
The only problem why we realize we see problems always because people are always talking of problems. They are not talking of solutions.
So to the problems.
Yeah. So the idea is to talk of solutions more than the problems.
Yeah.
Like, so the problem why Zimbabwe is in its current problems because we are not talking about solutions.
Yes.
We are talking about
problems.
There are many reasons why youth are in the challenges that they face because they are looking at the challenges, they are not looking at the solutions. Okay. So the moment people start diverting their attention from the problems to the solutions, then things will just start unfolding.
Because I also understand, Guti, from where you from your journey, even as a lawyer up until Mazo established Kapoto, you were also facing the same challenges that we are also facing.
Same challenges. My law firm was established in 2007 October during the height of hyperinflation.
Yeah.
Kapoto was established in 2013, when we were phasing out the dollarization, drifting into the 1:1 financial currency era. And those were days of hardship.
Yeah.
But did I look at those hardships? I didn't.
No.
I just faced the challenges head on and found a solution to a problem that was apparent, where Zimbabwe did not have its own brand. We had Portuguese restaurants, we had Nigerian restaurants, Italian restaurants, we had English restaurants in Zimbabwe, but we didn't have our own identifiable Zimbabwean brand for a fine dining restaurant. That was a yawning gap that had to be filled, and we had to fill it.
Yeah. And it's funny good even now currently because I've been here a couple of times. I have seen kutone vanhu vatori maregular who are actually buying sadza iro racho rinenge chinzi riri kudhura iro.
When you create a novel thing, people want to associate with it.
Okay.
And people want to associate with consistency and quality and perfection. Right. So Zimbabweans were yearning for their own
traditional food
outlet. And when they discovered Kapoto, they have given it overwhelming support. So to the extent that over the years, we are drifting towards 10 years since our first launch. And we have got such a strong group of loyal patrons who frequent our place, to the extent that it's in terms of competition, there's nothing really to fear. You see, the name that stands out currently when you talk of traditional food outlets, it's Kapoto. There are some that are there, I can't dismiss them. But I'm saying with our current survey that we have carried out, the name that stands out, if you do a Google search, if you want to investigate the prime place to go and eat out in terms of traditional food, it's Kapoto.
Okay.
You see, so that points to the fact that we haven't made a mistake.
And you were also facing to where you are, you were facing challenges all through. I still remember Yakambotswa.
2021 was a massive disaster. We were sabotaged. Someone came at the very bad timing towards Christmas, towards the rain season, and touched our taste gazebo, 26 October 2021. Right? And if we had wanted to talk about that challenge, we would have gone into 2021 festive season with nothing.
Yeah.
But we saw that as a challenge, and we stood up to face it.
Yeah.
And in 30 days, Simba, in 30 days, we're able to clear the rubble and pitch up a superstructure that has become talk of the town. That's the replacement of that gazebo.
That's powerful.
30 days.
You improved. After the challenge, you actually improved.
So the touching of the gazebo was actually a blessing in disguise.
Wow.
Because something much better came out of
that tragedy.
Yes.
Wow.
So if no regrets about the tragedy, we actually thank
the Lord.
We thank misfortune for bringing that tragedy, because it then unleashed the better.
So I really admire how you and your wife work well together.
Yes.
I can clearly see the benefits of having a working marital synergy.
Yes.
May you please highlight how a working marital synergy is important for success?
Right. Remember, scripturally it said that your wife is your best friend. If you look at the book of Malachi, chapter 2, verse 14, it says your wife is your best friend. So I treat my wife as the best friend. My soulmate, the person that I repose my ultimate trust in her. Right? So I find it easier to work with my wife than anyone else. Because ultimately, I stand to benefit more if I draw my wife closer to business than working with a third party. Because in the event of any challenge, I always realize that my children are always safer. Even if I have misunderstandings with my wife, she will not go to the extent of wanting to kill the business. You see?
She was part of building it.
She was part of building it. Right. So it's an advantage to work with your wife. Right. There's the element of trust. It's easy to relate with your wife. Right. And also I'm a professional. The professional practice that I operate require my presence almost 90%. So I cannot give my attention 100% to the restaurant business while at the same time I'm wanted at the law firm. You realize that if you operate a surgery like a medical surgery, you can't be doing 100% farming and then abandoning your surgery, because you are the face of the business. Yeah. So I've had the advantage of a wife who learns very fast, who is very skilled in terms of cooking, who is very adventurous in terms of improving the brand and maintaining the consistency, and upholding the standards, and boosting staff morale, and it has been good all the way. I need to say that. Yeah.
So is there any, in that regard,
Yeah.
is there any advice that you can give young people in terms of, because people, most of the times we talk about, when people talk about success, they don't talk about the issue of life partner, how important that is in the process of
Very, very, very crucial, I tell you, because you know, if you grow with your life partner, the temptations to want to cave in to the threats of separations can easily be dismissed, because you would know where you would have come from if you've been working together. You bond well if you cooperate with your wife, right? So I've seen, to me, I don't know how the dynamics of other parties in business are with their wives, but for me it has worked very, very well, and I would not hesitate to encourage other young people out there, you see, to experiment doing business with their wives. It strengthens their marriages. Of course, minor misunderstandings happen here and there, but because we are human, you always find ways and mechanisms of making up minor misunderstandings, especially in terms of investments. You see, there are times when my wife wanted to invest somewhere, and I have discouraged her. And because these are, you know, you want to avoid unsensitive disagreements, I've allowed her to go and invest. Right? There's a time when she went and put up a restaurant under a different name out there in deep of Manicaland in Auna. All right, and I discouraged her, saying there's no human traffic at that place where you want. And because I didn't want to do too much argument with her, I allowed her to go. Yeah. Right, and that project failed dismally. Right, so now that made her earn a lot of respect for me.
in your opinion.
In my opinion. You see, so that's how it works. You give mutual respect to each other. You submit to one another. There are also times where I've made mistakes, right, in terms of business, and she has already given me reproach, and I didn't pay heed. And of course, you know, you just put your tail between your legs. As a man, swallow your pride is. Yes.
It takes a maturity to do that.
It does, indeed, really, it does. Yeah. So that's how it should be. Don't hesitate to partner your wife, because any business relationship, Tinash, it's like a marriage. There has to be compatibility. Whether I find a partner to do mining with, to do agriculture with, you need to have high levels of compatibility with that person. Be it a man, be it a woman, be it an older partner or a younger partner, there has to be a lot of mutual respect and compatibility. So it's very, very important to identify the right business partners, because when you are not yet making money trying to set up and grow the business, you realize that there's a lot of unity, commonality in terms of vision and everything. When things start flourishing, money is now awash. That's when the temptations start. But some will not be able to live within their means. Some would want to splash money and be seen. Some would want to be seen, you know, flaunting beautiful girls all over the place. And then they start drawing unnecessarily from the business. Then you start arguing about cash flows. Then you start arguing about mistimed, wrongful investments. And that's how then you realize most businesses break up without lasting the distance, if you would have chosen a wrong business partner. Yeah. But if you are dealing with a wife who is submissive, who listens to wise counsel, you might go all the way. You might go all the way, enjoy.
Because there's also a factor probably the wife cannot be gonna get a girlfriend or wife but they are not necessarily a business person. The challenge of how can you accommodate that person?
Training. There's no person who is not trainable under the sun. Remember, most of the challenge relating to African business where there's no intergenerational wealth transfer is because most husbands are selfish. They don't want to involve their children and their wives in their businesses. And upon their demise, that then signals also the demise of the business. So there's no harm in training your wife Even if she has no intellect, just find a way of letting her do invoicing or do banking so that she has an idea of how the business is run. So that in one day when you get incapacitated or you get to depart from Mother Earth, that business will not die. It will, yes, the wife will take over. Yes.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have now reached a segment where we ask our guests to share 3 ideas of greatness. These ideas that help that must help someone reach a certain level of greatness. These might be ideas that you've learned or experienced.
Yes.
What would be these 3 ideas that you want to share?
Listen to this, Simba. Consistency in career development. Don't be a job hopper or don't be a career hopper. Today you're an accountant, tomorrow you are doing farming, the next year you are doing engineering, then we will see you are trying farmers, right? So you become a jack of all trades but master of none. So you build an accumulation of years where you will not have developed yourself in terms of skills to be able to be competitive in the world. So it's rather, if you say I want to be in IT, right, and you spend 10 years in IT, you'll be able to create the necessary networks. You'll be able to expand your knowledge through searching on Google and going on YouTube and doing all other experiments and seeing the latest trends. By the time you reach 15 years, you'll be a master in IT. The same would apply if you want to do agriculture. The same would apply if you want to do broiler poultry projects. The same would apply if you want to be a goat rearer. Anything. Be consistent in your career development. Don't be a job hopper. Stick to one thing. You can only have some secondary projects after you become a master in something. Remember I say I became a master in law. Then the restaurant business became an offshoot after I had asserted myself in law. You see, I can't start to want to experiment with so many things early in career development. That's very, very dangerous. Yeah, so stick to one thing. Even if you fail, know that it's a mistake. You correct your mistakes until you reach such a point where you start finding the true path to greatness. Then secondly, you need to have morality, right? You have to be responsible, personal responsibility. You can't succeed if you're humanizing, right? You are 21 years and you've already 3 kids with different women. That is Asuna. You are 24 years, you have already divorced 5 times. Right? You can't succeed in anything. Or if you are to succeed later in life, those mistakes that would have created in your prime will live to haunt you. Right, so you need to exercise personal responsibility. You can't be divorcing, you reach 50 years still divorcing, you reach 70 years still divorcing. No, if you have made a mistake in your prime, let it be one mistake, right? One divorce, and then after that you learn to correct things. Then the third point, Tinash, is you need to have spiritual responsibility. You need to have faith, and I encourage young people to believe in Jesus Christ. But that's my faith, and I won't hesitate to evangelize even on this podcast.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes, have faith in the name Jesus Christ that God gave to us, to the world. Yes. Right, because it is a name that was made bigger than any other name. If you read Philippians chapter 2, verse 9 to 11, it's the only other name through which you can access God. No any other name. So have faith in that so that demonic forces won't have control over you. If you're going to read John, the Gospel of John, verse 10 says, the thief comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So that's the devil. Those are demons. So many young people have had their lives stolen by the devil because they don't realize that they only need to submit to Jesus Christ and God through faith, right? So that Satan won't have power over their lives. Those are the 3 things that can usher one into greatness. Forget about hearing to motivational speeches. Forget about reading motivational books. Yes, they don't work.
If you don't work,
they don't work. You see, so if you work and apply these 3 principles that I've just articulated right now, I think you'd have opened the doors, the path for you to move towards personal greatness. Yeah.
We have reached the end of this interview. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
I'm indebted to you, Tinashe.
No, I'm
I would really appreciate.
We actually do something because do something for you because you have no groundbreaking episode here video for the podcast.
Is it?
So I will do a package for you. On video.
Thank you so much.
Doing a package for you just to thank you for being for believing in the podcast.
I would really appreciate. I would really appreciate.
Interview you and talk to you.
Thank you so much, Simba. Thank you so much, Tinashe. Yeah, thank you so much.
We hope that you have been blessed by this episode of the Greatness Factor podcast. If you wish to get in touch with Tinashe, you may visit our website at www.tinashecmudanda.com or email us at tinashe@tinashecmudanda.com. Till next time, stay blessed.